All right, Shalom. First, like to send out praise to you. How about Shem Shai, by Shem Crocodiles, double honors to the elders and apostles of Ruel, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. This is Oblock members Munna Duke and Youngin shot and killed together. They were close friends of King Von. Right, and I know for a fact Munna Duke used to rap. I don't know who this other guy is, but it's the result of being a part of the world. People say be not in the world. That's those were tricks that Esau set up to destroy the Lord's people. And even though the truth out here, that's what Jake want to do. So they end up involved in these conflicts that eventually get them killed. So what happened is ultimately the judgment. How about Shemal Shai? These two young men, spirit went back to the Father, and they gonna be in the kingdom of heaven and birth back in the kingdom of heaven through the elect. You know, so it ain't a bad thing that they got killed. But I'm going to play this video, then I have to lose clipping, and then I'm going to add some precepts.
Man, I know it's early in the morning, but we just got some crazy news. It looked like two O-Block members, Munna Duke and Youngin. I actually did a song with Munna Duke. He was actually on like the intro of my song. Both of those guys was shot and killed early in the morning. While people was laying down, going to sleep, dreaming. These guys, I guess, was outside or whatever was going on. A lot of news ain't really broke through the internet right now. A lot of people shook at this. Not one person died, but two people were killed outside. Remember, it's the summertime. Around this time, it get very violent. When the sun out, the guns come out. You get to thinking you can trust people. You can't really trust people. People will get your location and shit. While you out here drinking and having fun, that sun kind of take your mind off the fact that you might be hot. You know, I'm not exactly sure what happened to these guys. I'm pretty sure more news is going to break out, because they were killed together. I'm pretty sure this news is going to be on the news, ABC, NBC, all kind of channels. Plus, these were two O-Block affiliates. These were two close friends of King Von. These guys were like brothers of King Von. The crazy part is when Von was alive, it seemed like everybody he hung with not here no more. From Muwap and them, they locked up for FBG duck murder. Louis, who was with him when he got shot, he ended up dying from complications of that injury later on. Slutty got killed. Now, Mana Duke lost his life. Then Youngin lost his life. This shit is crazy. I don't know if this payback, revenge. Remember, it's real street shit going on in the streets. There's people dropping bags on motherfuckers.
And all this is guys that participate or around the drill culture. Um, and the record labels got these guys doing this and pushing it out, man, and it's destroying the people. That's why a lot of these guys that's up in these higher offices, they gonna be hit for the nuclear missiles. See, these two they made it past the nuclear missiles and the famine and pestilence and whatnot, and they spirit is in the spiritual world with the Lord. But a lot of these, especially a lot of the sellouts of our people, they gonna have to sit here and endure. I mean, they got to sit here up and go through all the hell to come up into the nuclear missiles, man. Even the guys, the sellouts of our nation that then got locked up that's partook up in the music industry. Example, like Lil Durk. The Lord might have it to where he be locked up until nuclear missiles come. Yeah, or that's why it's better to be a living sacrifice for Yahweh Shema Shai because uh, when famine and stuff break out and you in these jail systems, they're not gonna feed the people in the jail. They're gonna use that food for the people that's on the outside. And then if a famine break out and you locked up in jail in a city that the famine break out in, you ain't got nothing coming no way. Cause the riots and stuff gonna have everybody taking the food and everybody gonna be fleeing and you just gonna be in there starving to death. And the scripture say the worst type of death is to starve to death. So hey, it's man's goings out. How about Shema Shai? You just gotta pray that you'll be elect because a lot of people got hard steps coming, man. You know, so
Heads. Now remember, you might get to the point where you pushing peace. That's cool and all. You ready to change your life, jump into the Muslim game. But that's just you. You got to remember, it's shit you done to people before you change your life. And people don't forget about that shit. Especially out here in the streets, it was lives taken and shit. I don't know exactly what happened to these guys. If it was, somebody snuck up on them, if they were spotted on the block. I believe they were killed in Chicago. They were together. It's dangerous as hell right now at this moment because every gang chief that been killed. All the creators of the gangs are locked up or either dead from being in jail. The streets is being ran by young people. It's not even being ran by like gang leaders. It's really no structure, no big homies. It's just shorties out here living reckless as hell. They don't care about having no money in their pocket. They don't care about balling. They just care about acting tough. Acting tough leads you to be broke as hell for some strange ass reason, and people don't understand that shit. That's why I tell people every day, be very careful walking these streets, watch around, turn around, don't trust nothing, cause it's a motherfucker right now, hungry as hell. He ain't had no shoes, he ain't eaten a couple.
And this is one thing that I learned coming in the truth. Um, that Esau is only accepted in a society. The society continues to crumble. The Lord is giving out the jobs ultimately, but the only when you break it down in another fashion, the only people getting jobs are people with skills and have discipline and want to work and things of that nature. So that's why a lot of these these Negroes, Latins, Native Americans, and even the heathen nations, are not getting jobs. They don't have the discipline. They don't have the will to work, etc. Man, you know, they just wild animals.
Couple days, he ain't smoked no blunt in a couple days. He ready to risk it all. He's not trying to stand in front of no bank. He'll stand in front of the corner and rob you for weed fare. So when you're doing bad things out here, shit come back. Then again, you could be doing good shit and shit can come to you. Munna Duke is known as an enforcer and shit like that. His name was linked to a lot of shit in these streets. My condolences to him and his family. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of looked like Munna Duke was changing a little bit. We ain't really been hearing about him on the internet and, a lot of little drama shit and, internet shit and clout shit. We ain't really think that with Munna Duke. The most he was posting was showing him getting money and posting himself in like the Muslim clothes and stuff like that. We know he had a relationship with Lil Durk's sister. Lil Durk brother, baby mama. When D-Thing died, his baby mama started fucking with Munna Duke. That made the blog sites. He actually gave me a drop on one of my songs. Seemed like a pretty cool dude. I never had to feel his temperament because I never got into it with him. But news is breaking on the internet that Munna Duke and Youngin were shot and killed and murdered together. These is two of Oblock most famous members. The internet finna go crazy today. Y'all be careful outside. Remember, when that sun come out, them guns come out.
Yeah, my bad.
Out them guns come out.
When the sun come out, them guns come out, and that's putting everybody in the spirit of fear. Um, and the only people that's afraid is those that don't have Yahweh Shemel Shai, man, because we ain't got nothing to be afraid of. Not the elect, not the chosen. This is the actual news clipping. You know, that's what Jake get, man. You ain't supposed to be afraid of the things that's going on right now. You're supposed to be mindful and you're supposed to be getting all the way out the way and being circumspect, you know? This is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 14. It says, "Wherefore he saith, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Yahushua shall give thee light." Right. Talking to the Israelites, y'all have to awake from the sleep that y'all in. Y'all awake. Y'all are asleep because y'all don't know the truth. And y'all following after the philosophies of the world. It says, "Arise from the dead." Y'all in a dead state. And Yahweh shall give thee light, right? Through the truth, through the prophets, the apostles, GMS, on down, the elders, teachers, brothers that's teaching the truth with sincerity. See then that you walk circumspectly. Circumspect means to circle all around and look. So you gotta be paying attention to your surroundings. A lot of these cities gonna turn into hot zones, and you have to pay attention. I think it's the word hot zone, red zones, with a lot of chaos and things that's going to erupt. So you got to be on your square and watching the news and everything right now while you got the chance. Not as fools, but as wise. right? You can't be stupid out here. You gotta be smart. Redeeming the time because the days are evil, right? Living in the evil days, man. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is, right? The only way you're gonna make it through these days is if you doing the will of Yahweh Shema Shai, but you have to understand what that is. Doing the work, putting the videos up, studying, teaching the people. Everybody has a lot. Man, woman, child. You have to figure out what your lot is. Be not drunk with wine, which is philosophies. These type of guys like to gang bang, for you gang bangers, drug dealers, guys that's murdering and killing and everything. That's part of the wine that's being pushed upon us. We are righteous, holy people. We're supposed to be making our way back to Habashim al Shai during these times and not partaking in those type of events. It says we're in this access, but filled with the Spirit. The Spirit is the truth. Right? Press play on this clip. I ain't watched none of these clippings yet, so let's see which ones should I play. Let's see Chicago. Oh, Chicago.
I never imagined Mom Talk to blow up like this. But
you're opening up yourself and your family to all kinds of drama.
And it's going to destroy the group.
Please cut the camera. I can't do this.
The show must go on.
Turning to breaking news from overnight on Chicago's north side. Chicago police say 2 people were shot and killed and a third person was hurt. This happened early this morning near Broadway and Rosemont. It's still unknown what led up to that shooting. So far, no one is in custody.
And even when it comes to these shootings and everything, if the police know who you are, if them doctors and whatnot know who you are, even if they don't, they gonna let you die anyway.
That tight end is the toughest position to learn on offense outside of quarterback. So
Meanwhile, motherfuckers is partaking in football and not worried about nothing that's going on in the Middle East. Not trying to survive. Just dumb as hell. Let me see if I can get another clip with just a little bit more information. 2 killed, 1 injured. All right. It says a shooting on the city's north side left 2 men dead and a third injured overnight. Chicago police said the deadly shooting unfolded just before 1:30 a.m. early Saturday morning in the 6300 block of North Broadway in Edgewood. It says according to police, officers were first called to the scene on a report of a person shot in the area. But when they arrived, they found multiple victims who had suffered gunshot wounds. The victims include a 28-year-old man who suffered several gunshot wounds to his body and a 31-year-old man who was shot in the chest. Both men were taken to the hospital where they were pronounced dead.
Morning.
Let's see.
Chicago police are looking for suspects in a triple shooting in Edgewater. 2 of the victims were killed.
WGN's Christine Flores has more from St. Francis Hospital in Evanston.
Judy and Jewel, good morning. Now, one of those victims was brought here originally listed in fair condition. As to what led up to that shooting, officials say that is still to be determined. Police taped off a large area near Broadway and Rosemont in the Edgewater neighborhood early Saturday morning as they investigated. Officials say it was around 1:20 this morning when officers responded to the scene for a call of a person shot. Upon arrival, they found multiple victims had sustained gunshot injuries. A 28-year-old male sustained multiple gunshot wounds to the body and was transported by the Chicago Fire Department to St. Francis Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A 31-year-old male sustained a gunshot wound to the chest and was transported to Wise Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A third victim, a 36-year-old male, sustained a gunshot wound to the back and was transported to Evanston Hospital, where he was listed in fair condition. According to police, the victims were not able to provide details of the incident. At this time, no arrests have been made. Area 3 detectives are investigating. Reporting in Evanston, Christine Flores, WGN News.
Right, so I'm gonna start with this preset. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7.
Well, right now, Chicago police are looking for.
It says, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. Right, so your spirit goes back into the ground. I mean, your body goes into the ground. Your spirit goes back up to the Heavenly Father. This is Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. It says, man's goings are of the Lord. Yahweh, how can a man then understand his own way? Right, so when it's your time to die, the Lord gonna have it to where you get set up perfectly to be put to death. It ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing about staying on point, lacking. That's what they call it, lacking and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. When it's your time to die, you're gonna die, man. Yeah, and U.S. Navy soldiers, SEALs, special forces, guys that be in armored tanks and they be on point out there when they fighting them wars. They still end up dead. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1. It says, a good name is better than precious ointment, right? Having a good name within the temple of the Lord, doing what's right, and, doing the will of Yahweh Shema Shai. And the day of death than the day of one's birth. Right, in this society, it's better to die than to sit here and be born here because of all the wickedness that's going on, man. All the hell, diseases, and violence, and all that in the society, man. Scripture said the prophets love not their lives to death because we ain't been living. We've been in hell since our birth. Verse 2, it says, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. Right? House of mourning is what I'm doing. Reading the articles, um, teaching the flock, studying, going on the highways and byways, crying, sighing and crying about the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. How the society was built on wickedness and got everybody worshiping Satan. And we getting tired of being here, and Lord, deliver us. That's crying and sighing for the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. Right? The house of feasting is all this partying and shit, these clubs and strip clubs and things of that nature, house parties and getting drunk and smoking and popping pills and things. All that is part of the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men. Right? What are you doing sitting around? I think they said 1:30 a.m. in the morning, just on the street, just sitting. You know, they normally either came from some type of club, waiting to make some type of move, um, drug move, whatever the case may be, or get some type of information on somebody that's supposed to be getting murdered, all types of shit these niggas be doing around these hours of the night that they shouldn't be doing. And that's why they get gunned down. It probably was a setup or, came from a party, somebody got their location. Anything can be going on during these hours of the night, man. It says, for that is the end of all men, and the living, those that have the truth, will lay it to heart. Right. So us that know the truth know not to be just outside at these random times of the night, just doing nothing. Like, plotting and hanging out, and especially around niggas. You don't want to be around no niggas. You don't want to be around no heathen neither. Shit, you do all that shit in the crib. Save up you some money, buy you a house, or build a patio, or just, have brothers over. It don't matter. Make it enjoyable for yourself. Um, because the days is more sorrow and more horror is coming in these days, and you can enjoy yourself in the house, watching the news and listening to the videos and things of that nature. You ain't got to be outside. Verse 3: Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. Right? Sorrow is better than laughter. So all this complaining that we're doing is better than making jokes and shit. For by sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better, right? You being sorrowful, and that sorrow turns into anger, and you going through the emotions. It makes your mind a lot sharper, be a lot wiser, you know, a lot humbler. You know, you know how to move better and things like that. Verse 4: The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. So what I'm doing is kind of being informed that I'm a wise man. My brother's doing these videos, that's what I'm doing too. It's showing that we are wise men. That's what we're doing it, man. Because we know that the kingdom of heaven is coming next. And in order to get in the kingdom of heaven, you have to be doing this, you know? So why Jake and them just sitting back watching and not, partaking, they're not wise men. Wise men nor wise women nor wise children, all y'all included, man. But the heart or the mind, because the word heart in Hebrew is lav, which means the mind, of fools is in the house of mirth, right? So it was foolish. It's foolish to be out here in these streets just doing what the fuck you want to do during these times. At the end of the world, so to speak, at the end of Esau's kingdom, you got UFOs popping up everywhere. You got war going on everywhere, everywhere across the whole fucking world. You got diseases just popping up out of nowhere everywhere. So you niggas are fucking stupid, man. Latinos and Native Americans, y'all are fucking stupid. That's why you can't. That's why the scripture says, "Come out and be ye separate." Because ain't nobody finna hang out with no nigga that's doing stupid shit and not paying attention to his surroundings. And having street wisdom is not wisdom at all. Having knowing how to move in the street, in the context of killing and things of that nature, is not smart. It's not, it's not. You can use it to keep away from situations and things like that, but it's not smart to be out there partaking and doing it. And I know how to move and this, that, and the other with all the bullshit that I'm doing. All this is real wisdom that's of the Bible. Partake in this, man. It says, verse 4: The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke the wise, right? It is better to hear what I am saying through this one party, how much now shy, because it's coming from wise men, oh, the prophets of old. Yahweh love the prophet, and those who listen, Yahweh y'all of the prophets, or of the elect. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. Right, so